Lots of breaking news on Wednesday, February 15th in the world of Notre Dame football. Some clarity on Notre Dame's offensive staff in terms of the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach positions. The first big item of news is Notre Dame's new quarterbacks coach, and he's coming from Wisconsin. Gino Guidugli was just hired by the Badgers, came over to Wisconsin from Cincinnati with Luke Fickell. Hasn't held that post for very long. He was going to be the tight ends coach in Madison, but is taking the quarterback's job at Notre Dame. The guy has played at a high level, at Cincinnati, had 78 career passing touchdowns and over 11,000 yards, has coached several positions at the collegiate level. He's coached running backs at Central Michigan, running backs at Cincinnati, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks at Central Michigan, and was even the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2022 for the Bearcats. So a guy, again, who's played a lot of football and has coached a good bit too. He's been a grad assistant as early as 2010 and then held full-time role since 2013. And I believe he's 39 years old. So that's Notre Dame's new quarterbacks coach. Of course, with all this time at Cincinnati, he was with Marcus Freeman there. So it's a guy who Freeman is very familiar with. So that, again, is Notre Dame's new quarterbacks coach to replace Tommy Rees, Gino Guidugli. And then who will be calling the plays? That is going to be Gerad Parker, who joined Notre Dame staff last season, a guy who worked with Marcus Freeman at Purdue and was the tight ends coach last year. So it appears that Parker will be, reports are that he's being elevated to play caller. Now, the exact titles, is it co-offensive coordinators between Parker and Guidugli, or is it just Parker being offensive coordinator? We don't have the specifics on that yet, but really it's just semantics. You have Parker. He's coached several positions. He was an offensive coordinator and receivers coach for West Virginia, worked with receivers at Duke and Penn State. Again, worked with Freeman at Purdue, and then he was going to work at Cincinnati as the running backs coach. Circumstances led him away from that, and then look who ended up being the 2017 running backs coach, though, and that ended up being Guidugli, again, who Guidugli's coached running backs, quarterbacks, and was going to coach tight ends for Wisconsin. But again, coming over to Notre Dame as the quarterbacks coach, and Gerad Parker, remaining tight ends coach, but also will be calling plays for the Fighting Irish. So really crazy kind of past week here as Notre Dame went from Andy Ludwig, or actually Colin Klein was on campus, Kansas State offensive coordinator, interviewed for the job. He decided to stay at Kansas State. And then there was the whole buyout debacle, if you will, with Andy Ludwig, Utah's offensive coordinator. Was seen at the hockey game, as we've talked about so much in these YouTube videos. And then there's the report that the buyout caused an issue. I had been reporting before the whole, buyout fiasco. I put on our blueandgold.com message board, hey guys, I'm hearing that he has a big buyout and that Notre Dame was ready to pay it. And then the report comes out from Pete Thamel that it was the opposite. And I'm thinking, well, I guess, my sources kind of were wrong there. But then you have a report from Heather Dinich today on I don't know if it was on Wednesday or Tuesday, but she said this: my sources at Notre Dame told me that they were willing to pay the buyout, but by the time it got all figured out, Ludwig got cold feet, and apparently he's got a great deal at Utah, and that's where that stood. So we've been talking about something just doesn't add up. Notre Dame has the money to pay this buyout. The reports are saying that the buyout caused an obstacle, but now you have a report from Heather Dinich, who's been locked into this whole coaching search for Notre Dame, saying that Notre Dame was willing to pay the buyout. So is this just a PR job by Notre Dame now to kind of make it seem better? I don't know, but this is what I've been trying to tell folks. I said it in my YouTube video yesterday. We all don't know the full story. We're kind of trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together, so let's not bring out the pitchforks and cast stones at people when we don't know the full story. Is it Dennis's side? Is it Thanos' side? Like, guys, we just don't know 100% what happened here. But what we do know is that it's Parker going to be calling plays, and it's Gino Guidugli going to be the quarterback's coach at Notre Dame. Want to mention that Ludwig, if he were the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, if he would have taken that job, he wouldn't have been a grinder on the recruiting trail. Marcus Freeman put such an emphasis on recruiting. That would not have been his forte. People I talked to who covered the Utah football program and are close to it told me, like, hey, Ludwig's really good when he is face to face with the recruit and they're coming on campus. But the problem is he's not the grinder on the recruiting trail to get the players on campus. Guys like Guidugli, guys like Parker, and all the coaches on the Notre Dame staff now are younger and more energetic. They're going out there on the recruiting trail and kind of fit the profile of a Marcus Freeman assistant coach. I think Ludwig would have been a fantastic hire. I really like that for the Irish, and I thought, hey, Notre Dame has coaches on staff that can kind of help him out, and people in the recruiting office that can help him get those guys to campus and recruit for Notre Dame. But it's obviously more ideal when that coach, that offensive coordinator, is the one leading the charge. So, what Notre Dame doesn't get in Ludwig, the coach, like that experience. He's been a coordinator for the past 26 years. Notre Dame doesn't have that, with this Parker Guidugli combination, but they do have the recruiting side of it where they're going to work really hard on the trail. So obviously really interesting hire here for Notre Dame, getting Gino Guidugli as quarterback's coach and Gerad Parker being elevated and keeping his post as tight ends coach, but also going to be calling the plays this season. His time at West Virginia seemed to be funky, where he was offensive coordinator, but at what point was he calling plays? You'll get different, opinions and stories based on who you're talking to or what article you're reading. But people I talked to inside the building are very excited about Gerad Parker. Clearly wasn't the first choice. But it's Notre Dame's man moving forward. So just offensive line coach is remaining. Notre Dame will go through that process to hire Harry Heastand's replacement, and we'll keep you posted right here on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel and on our website, blueandgold.com. Please do hit the thumbs up on this video. Make sure you check out Wednesday night stream, whether you are watching this before the stream or after it's already been concluded, with myself, Tim Hyde, and Chris Sorich breaking all this down in much more detail. Again, head over to blueandgold.com for all the latest Notre Dame football coverage. And as always, folks, we'll catch you next time.